All right, well, let's get focused then. On a face. How's that? Decent. Let's see if we do that. Lighting a little better. Yeah. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the second episode of our morning show, Burleson Plumbing and Heating's morning show. And while people are tuning in, thanks James and Nikki.
Hello.
For tuning in. We are going to give you a brief synopsis of why we're doing these videos. I'm going to try to do that weekly. Good morning, Keith.
And Betty.
We're doing these videos, as I've said the past couple weeks, to better inform and equip you guys, the homeowners, on things that they should know, or a lot of people ask us these common questions. As I've said, if we buy a smartphone, we buy a car, those are pretty big investments for a lot of us, and you get a owner's manual, how you use it, what to look for, lights that turn on. You don't get that for your home. So our goal is to educate you on things that you can be looking for, looking at, and when you do need to get help for fixing some of those things. So today's topics are going to be heating, winterization, thinking about cold weather, and we also will talk a little bit about saving money on your power bill if you can, little tips and tricks we can do for heating. So kind of the general topic of heating, and we will also cover common things that need to be serviced or looked at on a monthly, yearly basis. Yep. So we're excited about it. We'll get started with a few highlighted items. We did this last week with the poppy light. But this week I wanted to show you guys a couple case knives. We just became a case dealer. We have some on sale right now on the Christmas sale sheet. You guys can look at that on burlesonplumbing.com/shop. So the first knife I was going to show you, and this one is a favorite of mine, Howard Burleson, which is my grandfather, one of the founders of Burleson Plumbing. He loved case knives. When we did the estate sale and grandkids came in and kind of looked at some old cool stuff that he had, case knives was one of the things that all of us wanted to remember him by. I carry a case knife in my pocket, which is the yellow Stockman that Granddad carried with him all the time, or most of the time. Dad has another knife that Granddad carried with him a lot as well, a case knife. So that Stockman, same knife that I carry with me, is one that I put on sale for Christmas. It's a 3-blade yellow handle Stockman knife. The other one, which has been a crowd favorite as of late, is this black handle Sodbuster.
The old Sodbuster.
It's got a nice design on the blade for the Sodbuster. Black handle and the yellow handle is on sale as well.
If you have any sod to bust,
it will bust.
That
all
is
sods.
the knife to have.
And the last one I wanted to show, there's plenty of other knives. Sorry, I'm out of the frame. Plenty of other knives that you can look at, but this one is a limited edition, and it's also been a favorite of people at the counter purchasing.
Very nice knife.
Limited edition. It's got a nice handle, 2-blade, and comes with this little collector's case. So just wanted to show you guys those and let you know that we had them. Come by and see Mr. Sean or Colton, and they'll show you what we've got at the counter. We're also discussing on this morning show that we need show names.
I think it's important. I don't know, like, we need like character names for our morning show.
Yeah.
I guess.
So I've been making up like spirit animal names for me and Ryan based off our middle initial. Mine being L and his being D. So we'll see what you guys think in the comment section about maybe llama and dingo. We're throwing around that.
I like that personally. There's something about dingo that just really resonates with me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Burleson Plumbing and Heating Q&A morning show with llama and dingo. I feel like our views would go way up.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to dig into questions, and I'll bring on our first guest here in a second. We're going to read through a disclaimer. First, everything we suggest and recommend are simply that. We want everyone to be educated on how things work, but not how to work on technical things. We always recommend hiring a licensed service professional where risk is involved. Burleson Plumbing and Heating and its employees are not responsible for injury, damages, or loss related to you, your property, or your home. So, with that, I'm going to bring on the noisy little squirrel to my left, Kenny Burleson.
Special guest.
Our special guest for the week. Grab you a seat.
Let's make some noise.
Push that like button.
Yeah.
There he is. I think Dad didn't know what to expect with our morning show when we first talked about doing it. Since then, I've shown him how many people have viewed it, and we found out that Mitchell News Journal is also going to do a little story on it next week. So, with the popularity, I wanted to get him on here and share some of his knowledge. He answers tons of questions on the phone. People call him specifically. I've known him for years. So, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Okay. Our first question, all of us will kind of talk about, including you, Dad. This question comes from Kristen, and she asks, what are some things around the house that should be checked yearly? I have lived in my house 6 years, and I think this is the first year my furnace has been serviced by Lucky Chance. So, talking about yearly checkups, talking about monthly things to check. Mm-hmm. Ryan, what's some things you recommend or you know?
I think right offhand, around here, a lot of people have wells. And so typically you're going to have some kind of filtration device in line to take care of sediment and things like that, or iron. So it's definitely a good idea to regularly check your water filters, especially the cartridge kind. And the frequency that you need to change those can really vary quite a bit. We have some folks that come in literally every 2 weeks to buy filters for their home, and some people that don't need to change it but once a year. But if that's not something that you regularly take the time to look at, you should definitely do that. It will help just with the overall water quality and volume that you experience on a regular basis in your home.
And that's going to be about a 10-inch tall filter in your basement, usually.
Throwaway type.
Yeah. And it's got a throwaway filter inside of it. People ask, what does it need to look like before I change it? Depends on what kind of sediment you have. It may look really brown, black. I've seen them jet black for people who don't change them over 3 or 4 years. I usually say check it monthly and see. Sometimes you don't have stuff stir up that often, but sometimes I've had people have to change them weekly. It's definitely something to keep your eye on. You'll lose water pressure and get sediment and other things. What are some other things, Dad, that you know that can be looked at yearly and checked?
After you change that cartridge 2 or 3 times, you'll get a history of, well, I'm clogging up every month or every 6 months. So after a few times, then you wouldn't have to check it every month if your filter goes for 6 months, say. But very good point. Another thing that would be good to check is your HVAC system, and not wait until very extreme cold weather and have a failure in the home that you're without heat. If you have that serviced on a yearly basis, you find that you have a lot less chance of a breakdown. That goes for a heat pump. It should be serviced and check the refrigerants and the pressures and everything in the system yearly. And gas furnaces, to check the burners and check the airflow, and check on a gas furnace, an oil furnace. Bob specializes in oil furnaces and does about 600 of those per year. And the oil burner in those we suggest every year. Some people go a little bit longer, maybe go 2 years, but we found when people have their serviced regularly, there's much less chance of a breakdown during severe weather. Another thought is to check your wood stove and your chimney. You could have a fire hazard if you've got creosote buildup in there, and that's not a service that we really offer here at Burleson Plumbing, but your chimney safety is very important, and that should be looked at. If you're a handyman and want to take the smoke pipe off, you can visually look at it yourself and see if it needs attention, that you can try that, or you may need to get a professional to help you with that. Yeah. One very important thing that we do here is the chimney caps, whether that be on a mobile home, modular home, or stick-built home. The caps on that chimney, if they get rusted out, we recently experienced a furnace that was only about 15 years old that was totally rusted out, and we found the chimney cap had rusted and blown away, and was getting a lot of rain down the chimney, and prematurely made that furnace go out. With it looked like it was 30 years old instead of 15. So those chimney caps are very important. You can kind of look at those from the ground, may have to get up on the roof to look at them. A water heater, the way a water heater functions, and I think they've already talked about this on the previous show, but the bottom element of a water heater could be out and you not know it. You will still get hot water, but you will start experiencing running out of water quicker. So you could have a problem with the element of thermostat that you're only getting half a tank of water instead of full tank of water. So that's something that we could check, be glad to check for you as well.
And something on the water heater topic while we are there, those can be serviced. If you have a tank style water heater, that for those of you who aren't familiar with a water heater, they're going to stand about that tall. Usually, some of them are a little shorter, but it's about your chest height. They will collect sediment in the bottom of those a lot of times. So flushing those water heaters out periodically is not a bad idea. I know a lot of people will put vinegar in them to get rid of any odors, and that kind of siphons everything back out for you to use and have a better, cleaner water coming from your hot water source. But if you have a tankless water heater, Ryan, I was wanting you to talk a little bit more, because those are a little bit more susceptible to build up.
They tankless are, especially if you're on well water with high mineral content and things like that. It's a good idea with a tankless water heater, usually specified by the manufacturer, to have them descaled once a year or once every 2 years, depending on the water condition. And they make a special pump package that you can use to descale your tankless water heater and maintain it. They are finicky, more finicky than a tank style water heater. There's a lot more going on inside of a tankless water heater, even in terms of technology. So it's important that you're definitely mindful of maintaining those and taking good care of them, because as we all know, it's terrible to get in the shower and realize you don't have any hot water.
Yeah. And we talked about whole house water filters, the 10-inch cartridge style filters. Dad, what are some other water filters that some people don't even know they have them in their basement? They bought a house and they might have some other types. What are some other ones they can be looking for that need to be serviced?
There is a cartridge, the cartridge type that I described, and sometimes you'll see in junction with it, or maybe by itself, one that has a little flush valve at the bottom of it that you open the valve and you can actually flush some of the sediment off, although they can build up and you'll actually have to take them apart and clean that filter. But some of them have a little ball valve at the bottom, and it's very easy to blow that off into a bucket or into a hose and outside or wherever you can disperse the water. The back flush water filters, there's more expense to those, but it's usually treating a more severe water problem like iron in the water, a low pH. A backwash type is a tank type heater. It usually stands about 4 foot tall and has a media bed inside of it, and that media bed needs to be replenished or replaced. There again, it's like the other filters. There's some people that I've seen that has to rebed those more than once a year, and the average, though, I would say is 2 to 5 years. 5 years being not too bad of water that you can get by that long. But those are something that you'd need to keep an eye on, simply by the water quality that you experience coming through your faucet. If it's good, you may be okay. If you start experiencing stains in your fixtures or such, then it may be time for a check.
Yeah.
Also,
and people, a lot of people don't know what their water quality is, so I think it's a good time to mention.
Absolutely.
We do free water testing for iron, pH, and hardness. So if you have a worry of any of those three, we will test your water for free, and let you know if you need one of those filters to filter those three things. We also have home test kits that you can test bacteria. You can test a more wide range of water filtration that you can take home. I think it's around $25. You take that home, you do your test yourself. The third option would be, we have a kit here at Burleson Plumbing that we give to you from Roan Industries in Bakersville. Shout out to them. It's a $50 test, so you give them a water sample and $50, and they will test it for you in a lab. And that way you're kind of free of trying to figure out what that means on the test. They'll let you know a breakdown of everything in your water. So just wanted to interject that real quick. So if you're wondering about your water, you have some options. We filter iron, pH, hardness, and we have UV filters for bacteria. So we can set up all that for you if you have water issues after you do a test. So.
Yeah. And while we're on that subject, I'd like to mention, I've heard often that water filtration people come into this area, and I don't know how they choose what house they go to or where they go, but they scare people into needing a water filter. And I've had calls and say, how much is your water filter? And I said, what do you got in your water? And they don't even know. They've been scared into thinking they need a $4,000 filter that, if they did need it, we could probably put it in for $1,500 or $1,800, and they're trying to get scared in by this company. But anyway, just a thought there. Yeah. Another thing that needs to be checked on regularly is a reservoir. If you have a reservoir system where your water's collected and comes into your house, that needs to be checked on a regular basis to see that there's no outside water getting into it or bacteria. There's much more possibilities of having bacteria in your water in spring water than there are well water. Well water is a ground source water that is capped off and sealed, and little chance of getting bacteria in it. Mm-hmm. The reservoirs and springs needs to be checked absolutely every year. I've had people that's lived in a house for 10 years and didn't even know where their reservoir was at. That is scary. Yeah. So that needs to be checked. Also, another part of your water system is your pressure tank. A pressure tank, if the bladder goes bad in it, it can short cycle the pump coming on and off rapidly, and you not know it. You've still got water in the house, but your pressure tank is causing that pump to short cycle and will cause the motor on that pump to go out. So you could save the cost of a $500,000 pump just by having the pressure tank working properly.
Yeah, and just for the people who are literally as green as you can get on educating yourself, it looks like Kristen, who asked this question, tuned in. Thank you, Kristen. The pressure tank's the blue tank in your usually basement somewhere area. It may be buried in your yard. We hope not. But it's a blue tank, and you can actually yourself check to see if there's a major issue with that tank by getting a tire gauge and putting it on top of the tank. There's a little threaded piece that comes out of the top of that tank. You can stick a tire gauge on that, or just push the pin down like would be on a bike tire. If any water comes out, that tank is bad. So automatically you know there's only supposed to be air in the top half of that tank. So if water comes out, you know it's bad. You can call us and say, I got a bad pressure tank, and that's a good head start for us to know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Plus, your electricity bill will be higher if that pump is short cycling. I've seen electricity bills multiply rapidly by that short cycling pump. So another savings tip.
Okay, this question's just for Kenny. This next question, and if you got any other questions about things we mentioned on the what should be serviced, please do call us. Any of us three, Ryan, Kenny, or Adam. We'll talk to you more over the phone, break down more thought processes on all that. Shirlene asked, Dad, which one saves more money, gas heat or twin split heat pump? So just
Good question.
Very good question. Everybody wants to know what's the best way to heat your house, the most efficient. And as Dad's about to talk about, that's kind of who you ask situation. So you want to break that down for him?
There's many sources of heat out there, very good sources of heat out there. And I guess one of the first questions would be, are you wanting to only heat your house, or are you wanting to heat and cool your house? If you want to heat your house, you can just use a gas furnace or a heat pump that would also do air conditioning. But there's many different sources, and like Adam said, it can be who you ask and the conditions at your house, your individual conditions, what would be the best. Another question is, do you have natural gas or propane? Natural gas is cheaper. You don't get as many BTUs out of natural gas as you do propane gas, but it is a cheaper way to operate if you have access to natural gas, which it is in this area now in the 3 counties, and some places, some communities have it and some don't. The split heat pump systems, there's the mini splits that uses no ductwork, that just has a blower inside the house. The unit outside, just like any heat pump or air conditioner, the unit's outside. It is attached to only a blower inside the house, and if the blower, you locate it in the area that you want to be heated or cooled, and it takes care of that area without any ductwork. Very efficient. They're very good. They're rather expensive, but they're a very good, cheap, economical way to operate. They pull less amperage than a water heater that could heat and cool your house. So it's very good if the circumstances in your house are for that. We don't see many oil furnaces put in anymore, oil boilers or furnaces, hot air furnaces, unless it's a replacement for one that's been in use and just replacing a unit. There again, there's many choices out there. To say one is more economical than the other, it's really hard to say this one would be the best without knowing all the details from your house and your needs for that house.
It's a good answer. And there's some people around here that have to have oil heat. It's maybe more expensive for the oil, but they like the heat better. Wood stove, that's an argument a lot of people have, outdoor wood stove. So it really depends on what is your goal, what type of heat, what energy costs, and this question was, which one saves more money? It depends a lot on the format of your house, the windows, the doors, are they sealed, how big is your home? So there's a lot of factors. I know that's an open-ended question. I would recommend letting us do an estimate for you on the upfront cost of both of them, and then kind of the efficiency breakdown in your house with each system, and our HVAC department would be happy to do that for you.
Yeah.
Sorry for not a more precise answer, but
there's not a good one anyway. All right, Dad, that's all we have for you. Thanks for visiting. And Ryan and I are going to answer the next two. So,
all right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good day.
All right, back to Dingo and Llama here. Okay, so 2 more questions, and these aren't big questions. Both of them come from Whitney. So Whitney, thank you for asking the questions. Whitney really wants to win the Wi-Fi thermostat that we're giving away for these questions.
She's real aggressive, guys. You better get in there and ask some more questions.
So Whitney asked first, what are good, efficient ways to winterize your home?
Good question.
And really, her other question, we could actually answer both at the same time.
Okay.
So I'm going to just go ahead and get both of them out there, and we'll talk through all of them. Her second question is, what is the best advice for saving money on heat during the winter? So both of those are the same topic. It's making sure that you're running efficient, that you're heating your home well. So go ahead, Ron. What do you recommend people?
I would say first thing, just like we talked about with faucets and things like that, you always want to make sure that what I would call the foundation of your home is in good order. It's kind of bad practice, I guess, to put a bunch of money into something really fancy and efficient if your home is not in a place to where it can even facilitate that efficiency. So what I'm getting at is when it comes to your home, you want to make sure that things like your windows are in good shape. Old windows, I have several old windows in my home, and you can walk by them and they let you know real quick, especially in cold weather, how good they really are. When it feels like outside, inside by your window, it might be time to address that. So insulating around your windows, and also just replacing windows with more efficient double pane style windows is always a good idea. Another big thing is not enough insulation in your attic. Heat rises. And so automatically, if if there's no barrier there, then you're just losing heat right out your roof. So making sure that you have good insulation in your attic, your doors and windows are sealed well, is always a good, and that's a foundational thing. You get it. You address that and get that worked out, and I think you would dramatically experience better heating costs. At the end of the day.
Yeah. Outlets and switches are another thing.
Yeah.
Take your cover off your outlet and switch. And I love all those lights.
Wow.
Fantastic. Sorry, distracted by all the lights.
It's my beard, isn't it?
Yes. So the outlets and switches, you can take that cover off your outlet and switch, and you can insulate. There's insulation you can buy that's a foam insulation, and you can put around those. Yep. Another thing is just you can usually see the box inside of that, the box where your receptacle or your switch is mounted, and you can caulk around that. Buy a tube of caulk and go around your house and do the seal around the windows, the doors, those receptacles and switches, and also where your registers are at is something that's big. Where your air is coming in through the registers and the return air grill, put that caulk around those and seal that off. That's just air escaping. You're basically taking hot air and then it's just going right into your basement or attic space, depending on where your grills and registers are at. So insulating is huge for heating efficiency, Whitney.
Yes.
Another thing to talk about on that topic would be air filters. Most of you right now, if you think about it, you're like, oh gosh, when is the last time I changed my air filter? That's usually not a good sign.
It happens to the best of us.
Yes, I'm saying this, and I've got a second one upstairs that I know I haven't looked at in 5 months. We're guilty of it too. Go replace your air filters. We sell a cheap, under $2, around $2, 30-day air filter. It says 30 days. It might last you a little bit longer. So go and change your air filters. If that air filter has a lot of dust build up, the air cannot travel through the air filter, and your system is working that much harder to circulate hot air in your house. Change your air filters.
Yeah. Hugely important.
Yes. Another thing that's really easy to do is your shades and your blinds in your house. Just in the wintertime when it's really cold, especially at night when you're asleep, you don't need to look out the window anyway. Close those blinds and shades. That's just an extra layer of insulation at those cold points you talked about at your windows. What else do you have?
Another good point is make sure, like if you have a window air conditioner unit that you have in your window, in the wintertime, take it out of the window, close your window. Don't just leave it in there year round. I know that's inconvenient and not necessarily ideal, but you will definitely reap the benefits of heating by going ahead and closing your window and removing that air conditioner unit. Another thing, that I was thinking about. If you live in a trailer or a mobile home, and making sure that your underpinning around the entire perimeter of your house is in good shape. You want to make sure that no wind is able to get up underneath there, and also that it's insulated well underneath your house. And that can be twofold, because you can get into water freezing issues. Previously, my wife and I, before we moved into our current house, were in a mobile home, and one of the areas was not insulated really well. So whenever it would get cold, our kitchen, without fail, the kitchen faucet would freeze. So make sure that your underpinning is in good shape, that your insulation is up underneath, and that wind and the breeze can't get to those important things.
And also on that same point, it doesn't even have to be a mobile home or anything like that. A lot of homes around here have crawl spaces.
Yeah.
And there's vents. You guys may not know what they are, but there's vents to allow airflow in the summer underneath your home, so it doesn't stay moist. In the winter, if you'll close those vents down, they have a little handle that will allow you to close them. And in the winter, that prevents that airflow from coming in and making your house colder and freezing your pipes. So go check those right now as well. That's something very easy you can check yourself right now without even having to crawl underneath. You can look at the vents from the outside.
Yeah.
Lastly, on that point, and we'll wrap up these two questions. A lot of people ask about programmable thermostats. I think they're great, especially in my home, the Wi-Fi thermostats. My mother-in-law called and said the house was cold. She was watching the kids for us that day, and I was able to go on my phone, bump up the thermostat at, I think, 4 degrees or something, and she texts thank you about 10 minutes later.
It's 2017. That's the age we're in.
So get Wi-Fi thermostats really cool, but programmable thermostats are only as good as the people who are using them, and that just means you need to be educated on them. I highly recommend do not turn your thermostat off every day when you go to work. Reason being, it makes sense in your mind, okay, I'm not home, I don't need to heat or cool my house, I'm saving money. That's wrong. A lot of people don't know this, and I found this out, and this was actually one of the questions that gave birth to this video series. I answered it for a few people at church. The thermostat, when you cut it off, when you come back home, you want your house back at full temperature. So let's say it's wintertime and you turn it off, it gets down to 50 degrees in your house, and you come home and you want it back up to 70, which is usually a middle of the road temperature. Your heat pump or whatever heating system you have is working that much harder to bring that temperature all the way back up to 70, and you are actually losing efficiency and money overall.
Yeah.
If you use a programmable thermostat and you want it to go down a little bit during the day, or you're manually changing it, I recommend 4 degrees. 4 degrees down is that sweet spot when you come back home and turn it back up, it can recover without losing a lot of efficiency. A heat pump actually works better just letting it ride at the same temperature.
Absolutely.
Throughout the day. So if you want to save a little bit, do that programmable thermostat down 4 degrees, and then have it set to come back up right before you get home. But otherwise, just leave it be.
Set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it. Thank you, Dingo. So, also, I do want to mention that the thermostats that we have, we have a wide variety of thermostats. There's programmable, there's semi-programmable, Wi-Fi, and then basics. So across the board, you don't have to go all out with a thermostat.
There's something for everybody.
But we do sell the very smart thermostats. We got the Honeywell Lyric. Just started carrying the Nest, which most of you may be more familiar with. That reads how you use it, and then it sets itself. So call the HVAC office, see what options we got and what kind of price you're looking at for thermostats, but now you kind of know how you should be using them. Question. Have a great day. Thanks, Kristen. You have a great day as well.
Thank you for your question.
Okay, so no more questions. We definitely are feeling good about these responses and questions we're getting, but we need more. We need more questions. So I do want to mention that everybody go to burlesonplumbing.com/QA ask your questions. We are giving away, now we have 3 big items to give away. Next month, we're giving away a faucet, Flux-Arc kitchen faucet. Shortly after that, we're giving away the Lyric Wi-Fi thermostat. And then now we have a under-counter tankless electric water heater. That's for a single faucet. So if you're in a situation where you want to have on-demand hot water just for your kitchen faucet or maybe a bathroom, whatever,
yep.
We're giving that away as well. So 3 items, and then we're giving away some smaller things, Orca chasers. So definitely go and ask your questions, and I thank everybody who has already asked those questions.
And I'm pretty sure that you would be open to this at any given time, really, throughout the course of a day. If you just want to swing by for a hug, Adam's always willing to give out hugs.
Well, yeah, for the most part. I do recommend that.
I'm sorry, Llama is always willing.
I do want to say thank you to People's Furniture for sponsoring our pen today.
Thank you guys.
I'm going to pick someone at random on a weekly basis and pick something random that we're using and say thank you for sponsoring, just to name drop a few people.
Yeah.
And in the next couple weeks, we're going to test out some other things in these videos, try to keep them within the 30-minute range and keep them short and sweet. But sometimes we get long-winded because there's a lot to talk about. So.
Yes, absolutely. And please, if you'll do us a favor, comment and let us know what you think about the morning show, maybe some ideas that you have that we can make better, how we could do this better, things that you'd like for us to talk about, and how we can better engage with you throughout the course of these videos. We really love our community, and we want to be an awesome resource to the people in our community. And so we want to thank you, all of you that tuned in today and gave us all those awesome likes and smiley faces. I didn't see one angry face.
No, I think we filtered that guy out.
That warms my heart. we blocked him. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today and joining us. Continue to ask us questions. If you would, share our video, please. Like it, share it, get involved with it, and who knows who will be joining us next time.
Yeah, we'll have a special guest next week as well. On that point, we have winter hours next week.
Oh, yeah.
We about forgot to mention that. We'll be closed next Tuesday for inventory.
Yes.
That's the 19th. We will also be closed Saturday. We're normally open on Saturday. We're closed Saturday for Christmas and Monday for Christmas.
Right.
We will also be closed New Year's Day. That schedule just went on our Facebook page on the email I sent out. I put it on our Facebook page. It has that schedule on it, so you can check that out on our Facebook page. We will, in those times that we're closed, except for inventory, on Christmas and New Year's, if you have an emergency, call and leave a message. We have someone checking those messages for true emergencies, no water, no heat situations, and we will help anybody we can to the extent that we can. We have a couple people on call usually in those situations just to make sure we take care of you guys.
And they love to leave their house in the middle of the night to go and help out in those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So we thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next Friday as well.
Sounds good. Dingo out.
And llama.